Assalamualaikum and good morning everyone. We are from Group C and today we would like to record a video presentation for manufacturing process assignment. Before that, let us introduce our group members. Start with myself. My name is Muhammad Akmal Matno and our next group members.
And my name is Muhammad Adib bin Muhammad Noor Ardan.
My name is Muhammad Adib Hakimi bin Zab Azri.
My name is Muhammad Michael bin Bira.
Okay, let's start with our presentation. Okay, I will start with introduction. Firstly, manufacturing is one of the important process in our daily life. Each one completed item went through few manufacturing process. Manufacturing engineering or process are the steps through which raw material are transformed into a final product. Design and product selection is one of important part in this process. The household appliance that have been decided to use for this analysis is hunting knife. Hunting knife is a knife that are used for skinning and cutting up the meats. In order to build one perfectly fine knife, a good material is needed, such as stainless steel, good carbon content in the metal for the hardness of the blade. Also, many material can be used for the grip, such as exotic wood or leather. Other than that, few processes are required, such as forming, hardening, polishing, and sharpening. Right now, let's go to our first process, which is forming.
The first process that acquire in the process manufacturing the blade is the forming the blade. Okay, so we have three type of process which is contain the material selection and the manufacturing process and especially the final outcome. So to forming the blade, the process that we use in the manufacturing process is punch, press and die, which is the process is in the stamping press machine. So what is the stamping press machine? The stamping press machine is the machine that used to shape or cut the metal by deforming it with a die. The first process is the material, which is the material is come from the flat material, which is in the soft condition, and then we put the material in between of the punch press and the die. So the punch press using the hardened punch and die shape to match the outline of the blade. So the punch is forced through the material into the die and blanking the rough blade into the shape. And at last, the process is complete by taking out the final workpiece from the leftover flat steel. So the next process, I will introduce my friend.
Okay, so we have done with the forming process of the knife. So the next is the hardening process. So what does the hardening process do? Okay, in hardening process, it is required for the process to preserve the sharpness of the knife edge. So in this hardening process, what is meant by maintaining the sharpness of the knife edge is when in the hardening it is required the heat treating. Okay, so different steel blades are generally treated by different heat. Okay, so for this knife, in order for us to hardening the knife that we have just formed by the previous process, there are some knives that are directly treat the heat onto its surface of the edge. But there are also we are going to use the oven, which we are place several knife into the oven. Okay, so roughly there are several heating temperature, but most knife are using the 1600 Fahrenheit, which is equal to 871 degrees for the heating of the knife in the oven. So after we heat the knife, approximately about around 2 or 3 hours, the entire tray is removed from the oven. And then after it's removed from the oven, the blade that we have heat treating, we immediately submerge into the oil or the water, which involve the rapid cooling of the blade. This is also called the process of the quenching. And then after the quenching process, in the hardening, okay, and then we reheated the knife. So the knife is reheated about a higher temperature, which is about 500 Fahrenheit, which is also about 260 degrees. And then after we reheated, there are some, we can see at the surface, there are some red colors or blue color on the blade of the knife. And then after we reheated, then we will go through the last step of the hardening process, which is tempering. The tempering process is allowing the blade to, after the reheating process, to cool down slowly. So for the hardening process, it is more about we are increasing the strength of the metal, and then by further heating and the cooling cycle, which is used by a specialized alloy. So that is what in the hardening process. And then we go to the next process. I will pass to my friend.
Assalamualaikum, and I thank you, my friend. Okay, for the polishing and sharpening. Once the heat-treated blade have cooled, they are polished and sharpened. Okay, polishing is done by machine or by hand. Okay, for flat belt sander, it provides a smooth, even brushed finish on the sides of the sheet metal. It also polishes any markings from the stamping process and remove surface debris from the heat treatment process. Okay, the blade is then inserted into the sharpening attachment, which guide it through a series of grinding wheels. Each rotating grinding wheels remove the right amount of metal knife. When making utility knife, many of these properties are left without further processing, as they are functional rather than cosmetic. On the fancier knife, these features can be hand polished with a rotating buffing wheel and jeweler rough. The rough is a soft, abrasive paste which, when spread into the cotton buffing wheel and then buff against the blade surface, polish the metal to the high luster. When the blade is done with this step, it will be pretty sharp and appear ready to use. However, the final steps of sharpening are required to create the permanent edge. Okay, this is the process. For the first picture is a quench process. Okay, the next process is sharpening, which is the blade is now polished and sharpened. A belt sander produce a smooth finish and remove surface residue. Okay, then the last part is after the blade is honed, the stock are pressed into the tank. Okay, at the left picture, it shows rotating buffing wheels and jeweler rough, which is it's smoother than the flat belt sander, which is at the right corner. Okay, next I will pass to my friends for the conclusion.
In conclusion, clearly manufacturing engineering or process is one of the important aspects that needed by human to make sure there is new innovation can be made every day. Based on the analysis that have been done, a good knife can be made by preparing a suitable design, good raw material, and weak combination of manufacturing process, such as forming, which using punch press to make a shape, and hardening to preserve the sharpness of the knife edge. Next, polishing and sharpening by using a flat bed sander to produce a smooth and even surface to both sides of the blade. And lastly, assembly of the stock, guard and pommel to complete the process of making one good hunting knife. That's all from us. Thank you very much.